we're here for another edition of the Osteopathic Lyceum podcast, and we have Terra Nicolle. Now, Terra and I work together, so it's wonderful working with you.
Well, thanks, Sam. I feel the same way. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now, one of the things that you do as a practitioner, so we'll do a quick background. You started in generalized healthcare as a personal trainer, is that fair?
Yeah, I started in the fitness industry first as a fitness instructor, personal trainer, nutritionist, lifestyle coach, then started working at a chiropractic clinic doing rehabilitative exercise with Pilates and yoga, and then became a yoga therapist. The beginnings of Chinese medicine practice without acupuncture. And then I was a holistic practitioner, Thai massage master trainer, and all of these things just kind of layered into the next. Ended up working with burn victims at Javinsky Hospital as a touch therapy practitioner with yoga therapy. But they were like, we need a billing number. So went to massage school to have a billing number that was recognized by the hospital. And then when I started going to massage school, one of my teachers worked in a multidisciplinary practice, and there was an osteopath that worked there, and she said, "You're more like an osteopath than massage therapist." And I'm like, "What is an osteopath?" And so went there and got treated by the osteopath that worked there, and had a conversation with them and realized, yes, I was doing more osteopathy. So even in doing massage, I never did nothing wrong with it, but never did relaxation, was always treatment focused.
Yeah, well, it sounds like that through all of the experience that you know that layered upon itself, you were more maybe goal-oriented with the treatment.
Always.
Right, so it's like there's, this thing is presenting in some way, shape, or form. I would like to do something about this thing, as opposed to the general momentum of massage therapy as a profession in Ontario, where people just show up and say, rub here.
Yeah.
Right, so that was not your thing.
No.
Fair enough.
So organically, it just kind of kept unfolding. Went to osteopath school, and halfway through, I was still teaching fitness classes at that time, and halfway through, one of my participants said to me, "Terra, if you finish osteopathy, we'd like you to come and work for Doctors Without Borders." So I thought she was a physician, and I thought at that time she sped my application through, and so I was accepted by Doctors Without Borders. So I thought as soon as I was done school, what I was going to do is go do triage. So I wasn't going to be working on the people, I'd be working on the professionals that were on the boat that were taking care of the people. So that was kind of how it was going to go, because it still wasn't really recognized that osteopathy could help anyone. They just thought more I could help the people that are treating the people.
I will say
in the medical health profession.
I will say superficially that even as an osteopathic practitioner, I don't blame other healthcare practitioners, especially medical professionals, for having some doubts as to what osteopathy does, because our claims and our evidence base don't match up particularly well. The claims that we make are fantastic. The work that we do is often quite good, but the claims are a little bit unicorn rainbow type stuff.
And I agree with that. And so I often tell my patients it takes a team, right? And that how lucky are we that we do have medical health professionals that can give us a pill, that can help us stabilize as we walk through healing, sometimes help facilitate long-term healing within the body as well. Sometimes we need that intervention.
Absolutely.
I can't fix something that's on the inside of your body. Sometimes we require surgeries, and all those things are good in their place. It's just understanding that, organically the body's a whole, and if we want to facilitate the body healing itself, we have to have a team approach. There's no one thing that fits.
No.
So I said that I would come to do Doctors Without Borders.
And treat the doctors.
And that's what I thought I was supposed to be doing. But right before I graduated, I was at a celebration of life for my husband's uncle. And while I was there, it was in a it was in a funeral home, but multi-people. Right? were there, other families.
Yes, so there were other services going on.
Yeah, so this lady came in and I thought she was with our group. And she was like, what are you in school for? This little African lady. And I was like, I'm in school for osteopathy. And she goes, we're looking to hire an osteopath. And I said, for what? And she said, Zambia.
Okay.
And I'm like, where's Zambia? And she's like, Africa. And I said, what would I be doing there? And she said, we have a teaching school there, open facility hospital, and we're looking for people with multidisciplinary approaches to come there and teach our staff in what they can do if they didn't have medicine available. What were some other options? And so at that point, I had been an educator for over 20 years in the fitness industry.
Yes.
And so, and I taught anatomy as a yoga therapist. I taught post-trauma release classes. So I was like, sure, of course, being an educator was something I had done. And I told her I'd meet her for a coffee. She was relentless. And so I finally met her for coffee on a snowy day down at McMaster University. And I was supposed to meet her across the street.
Probably like what, the Starbucks over there?
I think it's the Timothy's then. There was no Starbucks.
Yes,
Yeah, and so on my way driving down there, she called me and said, can you meet me in the boardroom? I can't get out of the meeting that I'm in. And I was like, sure. So I went in and there were 8 doctors that sat on the board of the hospital in McKingie. And that's who she wanted to introduce me to. So at that time I thought, does she have dementia?
Like maybe you got bamboozled.
Yeah, went in there and they were like, so what are you in school for? What are you hoping to do for us? How did you hear about the hospital in McKingie? And I was like,
this lady over here.
Does she have dementia? Or she's really old. I don't know. Maybe she forgot that we were just meeting for a coffee, that I didn't know anything. So they were like, sit and tell us about yourself. And so after I told them, I was like, I'm not really sure if you want me to come there and work on one person at a time or work on the doctors that are there, or as an educator, I'm not really sure. And they said, we want you to come there and educate the nurses. So
to give the nurses who will be there consistently more skills to intervene with people in a way that maybe other modalities couldn't. And so I was like, I can do that. Right.
So my husband was supposed to come with me at first. And when I got closer to the date, Mark was like, would you be upset if I don't come with you? And I'm like, actually, I really feel like it doesn't matter whether you come or not. I'm supposed to go. So I was booked to go for 6 weeks, and ended up on a bush plane headed for the middle of nowhere in Mukingi. And once you arrive, you are there. There's no way in or out.
Other than plane?
Other than a plane.
Is it an island?
No, it's so it's under the Congo. It's in the middle of Africa. So the bottom of Zambia.
The road network at this time is not great there.
No, they do have like, so I came out on a safari truck. So they do have vehicles that can off-road. And so, but the hospital itself, how people get to it is usually walking. So it's for all the outlying villages for the Congo. The ones that can make it through.
Now is this just for me, because I've met people from both the Democratic Republic of Congo and the People's Republic of Congo?
I'm not sure.
Fair enough. You just heard the word Congo.
I just know it's at the bottom of Congo.
Fair enough. Because it used to be more united, if I'm not mistaken. It is separate. I believe the People's Republic of Congo is the one that has Atlantic coastline, but I don't think that's. I don't think
it's close to a coastline.
Where it sounds like you are.
In the middle. In jungle. It would be the jungle for the Congo, but for the part of Zambia where I am, we're right beside Kwafi National Park. So it's a big reserve, and so it's mostly desert. I think there are like some banana fields and stuff that are close by, but mostly.
Savanna or desert? Like, is it grassland or sand?
Grassland.
So probably savanna. But this is just me being a bit of a nerd. Don't worry about that.
So the only reason I know that is because we see a lot of burn victims at the hospital. Because they burn that grass. Because
to turn nutrients over.
Well, that and because the snakes hide in the grass, and so and other predators. So they burn the grass so that. But the thing is that the sand itself is very sandy. And so after they burn the grass, it actually stays hot for days. And so they don't sometimes realize
how
hot that is. And so a lot of burn victims come to the hospital. Or they fall in it.
Yep.
They're like...
So initially your quote-unquote charity work was, you sort of got bamboozled.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So you just happened to stumble across a pre-existing organization that happened to be looking for the skill set for you to share.
Yeah. I believe God kind of opened up all those doors.
That's okay. There's lots of different ways to look at it, which I appreciate all of them. I think superficially it was maybe a better way to say it is at least serendipitous.
Very much so. Yeah, it was crazy how it all happened. But I know that we'll get to this later, but I do believe that you can also make those things happen.
Sure.
So in Africa, I think that the most important thing that I came out of there with was the understanding that even if you don't think that you have like a great skill set, you still have more than most. Yeah. And so going into those areas, it's actually very easy for us to show someone else what we do. Yeah. And so we don't expect them to have the depth of understanding, but everyone can oscillate a leg. Sure. And hold a cranium. Yeah. So and we know that just from the nervous system, what that does.
It can have a positive impact.
Yeah.
Sure. The reason I talk about just the manner in which your initial charity work seemed to be serendipitous is because you've gone with other organizations as well. You've gone to other locations since.
Yeah, I have, but not with other organizations.
It's the same people?
No, it's not. So SIMS was with SIMS, and then Cozumel was my husband's family had gone down there to open up. It's kind of like a soup kitchen. Okay. And so I went down there with the whole intent of they were going to open some doors for us to treat people. But then once I ended up down there were actually 4 orphanages that opened up their doors and a prison. Okay. So there's
this was the other week. You were treating people in a prison?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So I think that the most important part of that was like the people that are in the prisons there can be up there in there for up to 10 years and they're sleeping on like steel slabs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I know how bad I feel when my mattress isn't the most comfortable and how that affects every part of my life. So I'm like, you put 800 men in a facility and have them sleeping on steel slabs, they're going to be pretty angry people.
Well, they might be angry prior to getting there.
But that's only going to make it worse. That's only going to make it worse. Sure. And so, but my goal in going to these places and helping has always been if I can find 2 or 3 people in each of these institutions, even in the orphanages, that would like to learn some extra skills. Sure. I would like to learn how to do basic treatment, because when we're in school, that first week is just spent like general treatment, oscillating a leg, and how great all of us felt at the end of 1 month just getting basic treatment. So if I can just teach them, whoever is the most interested in helping each other, a few general skills, because it's not any good if I just go into these places.
No, because then you're the limiting factor. You can only treat so many people and you can only be there so often. So only this many people can get helped. Whereas if you share the skills, maybe not to the same level that you would have, but now this many people can be helped.
And that's my goal.
Yeah, that's awesome.
My goal. So when I go to Africa, I teach the physios, the midwives, and the dentists there. Nice. Just up their skill set. When I first arrived there, they were damaged or having injuries to at least 10 babies a week, whether they were cranial, brachial, babies with club feet that they just weren't treating as properly or as updated. Sure. But being able just to give them the slight skill set that I had at that point, it went down to 1 baby a week.
That's awesome.
And so if we just look at, and that has held over the last 3 years.
That's fantastic. So overall, the thing that seems to be the most stable is that however you end up making these contacts, you're trying to skill share.
Yeah.
Right, and that comes from a high degree of previous experience with education, generally speaking. So whichever skill sets you've accrued over time, you're like, I just want to share these. Okay. That's really interesting. And then you are, say, maybe not particularly concerned about the organizations you end up interfacing with, just organizations with people in need, that there are people who are staffing these that could help.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so in Roatan, we had gifted to us 2 free rooms, of which my dentist is taking one of them.
Okay.
So he's retired.
Yeah.
And he knows the work I've been doing and let me know that I could have his equipment.
Okay.
Because his new practitioners have taken over his practice.
And brought in fancy new stuff.
Think his stuff is antiquated, and he's like, what do I do with this? And
Okay.
he said, if you have a need for it, and I'm like, absolutely. I have great connections through great people that have offered to ship this equipment down to Roatan.
Yeah.
He'll take one of the rooms and then just do extractions. And then he'll take care of asking his dentist buddies who would like to go down and spend a week down there and do 3 days with extractions. So I feel like these doors always open if you're looking for them.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like you're, in any conversation that you're having with somebody, say from somewhere else, how can I help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Prior to the conversation, my thought was that there were organizations you were already connected with that you were looking to. It just seems like you were open to having those conversations with anybody you're talking to.
Yeah. So, and because my patients know what I do, I had a patient that came to me. She's a translator, Turkish translator, and she was like, "Do you know about the Turkish refugees in Niagara Falls?" And I was like, no, I hadn't heard that there were. She said there's 700 of them in the hotel down there that 30 disabled children that don't have a way to get out of bed that have now been in these beds since December. Would I be willing to come and do treatment? And I was like, absolutely. Yeah. And so after I went and saw the need, as you know, then I started promoting, like, is there anybody else in my field that would help? Which people have generously donated their time. And so we've had 3 times now going down, and each time we've been able to treat over 40 people. And I say treat loosely. So like you get 15 minutes a person, but just from that, the last time I was there, the translator said, the people are very grateful, but they also wanted me to know that some of the people that have been treated would like to learn how I do what I do. And is there like a school or somewhere where they can get educated, but they're only here
for a certain period of time.
Until their homes, until their communities have been cleared for them to move back. So instead of saying to them, yes, they only need to go to school, instead I said, you know what, when I come in 2 weeks, the people that would like to learn what I do, if they'd like to sit in, we can help more people if I have these people willing to try to help people as we're all there.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, that actually sounds extra interesting to me because I didn't know that was happening either, that these people were expressing that interest. So for myself, being somebody who's interested in educating, specifically with respect to osteopathy, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing would be the language barrier. So they don't speak English. They do just speak Turkish. But touch is universal.
Well, also historically, because I like history, there's lots of places where people didn't necessarily speak the same language, but they were able to do business together, which means that it's probably not that big of a hurdle. So, okay. So what we'll do is we'll wrap this up. So first, I say thank you for the insight. I'm sure because we work together, I'll do many more conversations because you have an interesting background. But the central feature being that you are open to having a conversation to figure out how you can help with anybody depending on where the heck they are.
Yeah, I am open to that.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.